We're going to pause right here in our Through the Bible study of Genesis 26 to do a word study of this word caressing. And the reason being is because there are a lot of different interpretations of what this word should be. We're also going to use blueletterbible.org to do this word study. So I'm actually going to do a screen capture to show you how when I do a word study, how I use Blue Letter Bible to do that. So there's my notes. So we are going to go to blueletterbible.org, and I'm going to type in Genesis 26, and we are doing verse 8. And I like to start when I'm doing a word search. I like to start with the King James Version. So this is Blue Letter Bible. I have it set up here. You can change how you see it in verse by verse. So you have each of the verses here as you go down. You can change the translation here, or you can change it here. But what I love to do is you click on the actual verse, and this then brings up the interlinear, where you can actually see the original Hebrew. And then it goes through and it actually gives you the Strong's Concordance. The Strong's Concordance is a great resource that's connected to Blue Letter Bible. That is, every time a word is used in the Bible, it has a designation from Strong's. So the one word that we're looking at is caress, which is interesting. The reason why we're doing this is look what the King James Version has as the translation for that. My NIV says caress. If you have a King James, it says sporting. Abimelech saw Isaac sporting with his wife Rebekah. Interesting, right? So we're going to click on this. H6711 is the Strong's Concordance reference, and now you get in-depth information about this one Hebrew word. Here is the actual spelling of the word in Hebrew. This is the English of the Hebrew, so it's Hebrew, but it's in English characters. This is the pronunciation of it, and then you can also listen to it as well, which I really enjoy this.
Strong's H6711. ṣāḥaq.
ṣāḥaq. ṣāḥaq. But look at the definition of this. To laugh, mock, play. To sport, play, make sport, toy, or make a toy of. As you scroll down, you can then see all of the use of this word. So Genesis 17:17, Abraham laughs when God says that you are going to have a son in your old age. Genesis 18:12, Sarah laughs. That's the same word that the NIV here translates to caress, which is really interesting. The other thing that we can do is come all the way back up here. I'm going to back out. It has the interlinear where we have the Masoretic text. The other thing you can click on is this orange yellow tab here, which says Bibles. This then gives you this one verse in all the different translations. This is hugely beneficial if you are trying to figure out, what does this word mean? Why? What is this? Why is this here? What this gives you is you're able to see. I did a separate video on translations of the Bible. At the end of this YouTube video, in the bottom right, I will put that video. And it explains that there's word for word and thought for thought translations. When they're going back and they're translating the Bible from the original Hebrew, if you do word for word, it's very isolated and it can sometimes miss the big picture, which is what you get here, which is why the King James says sporting. And you can see here, so there's sporting. The New King James says endearment, showing endearment. The New Living Translation says caressing. We have caressing again. Laughing is the ESV. Isaac is laughing with Rebekah. Caressing again. Caressing. I'm saying caressing a lot. Fondling is the RSV translation. The ASV is sporting, again, the same thing as the King James. Playing, the YLT, which is also the Young's literal translation. Dallying is the Darby translation. It's just interesting. So as we come back to this, the question is, with all these different translations, which one is right? You have laughing, you have sporting, you have fondling, you have playing, you have dallying. Context. Context always informs meaning. So When you look at it, the context of this verse, what does it tell you? Abimelech's reaction is the same across the board, whether you're in King James, the NIV, the ESV, regardless. Abimelech's reaction at seeing this is, that is not your sister. That is your wife. So from that context, we know that though the base word in Hebrew does mean laughing and sporting, this definitely has some sort of a sexual connotation to it, which is why the NIV, when the scholars who produced this, translated this, chose caressing or fondling. And I believe that is appropriate because clearly, whatever they were doing, whether laughing or sporting or caressing, Abimelech's like, dude, that is clearly not your sister. So I hope this has been helpful. Now we're going to continue with our Through the Bible study of Genesis 26, picking it up on verse 12.